and pay their grand landlords. This went on for centuries, causing many
Just
dogs
doing
to
some
take out
background.
rage on each other, having violent wars, and they would often kill their fellow dogs in street fights. The only clear way to riches for a dog was through pod racing, a sport that was huge on Malastare due to its varied terrain and endless supply of pilots who were willing to get rich or die trying.
Get rich or die trying.
Galaxy.
You gotta see this video.
Likely inspiration to many young dogs. Samoka was another dog that made it in the galaxy, becoming a hollow vid star. But how this talent was discovered is still unknown. This
Doing some character research.
Continued up until the time of the Clone Wars, where the Dogs for Democracy movement.
Let me know if this gets annoying.
Dogs for democracy.
Yeah, it's a little loud.
It's got a Fox News breaking alert.
And the Malastare Council was formed, which took a representative from each of the ancestral tribes, and which was ruled over by an elected doge. It is said that the Grand Protectorate still represented them in the Galactic Senate, but how this relationship worked, and how the Dogs came to have some financial independence, is unknown.
Realized how close all these planets were to each other.
Doge Noctilurus resided in the very
What the
impressive Imperial Palace.
fuck are they supposed to be rotating around? Where's the gravity sources in these places? Is there no stars in this world?
It's a conga line.
To allow the use of this experimental weapon. When this unleashed,
You're looking at a map of the galaxy, not a map of a solar system.
I know, but where are the stars? Why does it only list planets?
Because that's like the super zoomed in version of just the planet, and where they would be located in that galaxy.
In the New Republic, there was a Doug diplomat, and in the year 137 ABY,
Well, if the Clone Wars taught us anything, that planets themselves can have enough gravity to affect other planets next to them.
And during Phasma's time as a tribal warrior on Parnassus, she fought and killed a rival Doug warlord. So that's it for the Doug species. If you liked it, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to check out our social media,
Yeah, I mean,
No advertisement. I don't want your advertisement.
tune in and subscribe.
No like for you.
I mean, he did a pretty okay job. Cut the
Yeah.
guy's slack.
I've heard
This
worse.
guy watches the entirety of the video, agrees with everything, uses all that information, and doesn't even give him a thumbs
even
up.
do the simplest thing of hitting fucking like.
One thing he has to
One
do.
fucking thumbs up, and this motherfucker can't do it. This guy.
Not even gonna
Alright,
lie.
peer pressure for the info.
I watch those kind of videos all the time.
He still gets a partial for me watching the whole damn thing.
You know what? I just realized I might not go paladin because paladins don't have the ranged fighting style. Maybe sad. I just realized that.
You going blaster style?
Yeah, dude, I'm a fucking Mandalorian. What the fuck you think I'm gonna do?
You can go level 1 fighter, 2 levels of paladin. Then you get 2 fighting styles.
I mean, I really don't need paladin. I was just gonna do paladin because I get divine smite on top of a fighting style. Really, just want to be a martial character. And if I just be a fighter, then I don't even have to ask you about spellcasting. It's just out of the question. So that would be easier overall.
Yeah, Ryan's actually playing a wizard, and he's got some cool ideas. Like, for instance, fireball. He's throwing a thermal detonator. Boom, handled.
He's got a thermal detonator.
Before I decided on Doug, I wanted to have the outfit Princess Leia had in Return of the Jedi. She was trying to get Han Solo out. That helmet is just awesome.
I thought aren't the Doug what Sebulba is? The walk on their hands?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm talking about number 6 when she comes to get Han Solo out
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she gets trapped.
Bounty hunter mask.
Yeah.
See, when you started, I thought you meant the slave Leia outfit.
The bikini?
What you wanted for your character. And I was like,
Oh,
I
my
mean,
god, a
okay,
Doug wearing a
that's
slave bikini.
good
Great.
choice.
Love it.
I'm out there, but no, not that far.
Well,
I need to
waiting
roll.
on Amanda.
All right, so
You need to roll. If you copy and paste that formula I put in Skype in Roll20, it'll give you the rolls.
all right.
I need to give you your character sheet. I think I did that already. What? Do it now. Yep, you got it.
Somebody went max headroom.
And if I go fighter, then I could take champion and I get improved critical, which just seems kind of dope, like Mandalorian
Be more of
style.
a sharpshooter type Mandalorian.
Well, I mean, see, being a human and the fact that you're giving us 2 feats means that I get sharpshooter and crossbow expert. So yeah.
Since they, in some of the now non-canon books, the Mandalorians were more of a an order and not a race. So you could really be any race and be a Mandalorian, in theory.
Yeah, but aren't the Mandalorians from Mandalore? Like,
yes.
And they're human, and
Yeah.
they're like a martial, like you know, like combat, like prowess over everything.
Oh no, totally. There's
Well, also like French Legion, you know.
Yeah,
no,
that's
they
exactly
respect
what it is.
power, man.
They'll take everybody.
Power and order.
What book is it?
That's why I was like, Conquest Paladin would work perfectly for a Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I have the book up there somewhere. Can't remember.
But
There's
almost
one book where it's like a
Oh.
Trandoshan is a Mandalorian, but you don't know that it's a Trandoshan until like the last 2 pages of the book.
So they're just Mandalorian.
They're just Mandalorian, yeah. it's more of like a title than anything, depending on which author. But totally
I
cool
just
with
know
that.
that the Mandalorians fought in the Mandalorian Wars, and they're like the only people that actually stood the fuck up to the Jedi. Because fuck the Jedi, they're fucking terrorists.
Yeah.
One way to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, they conquered the galaxy, didn't they? Why are they the good guys? Never understood that.
They're kind of like the Catholic Church. They're good to a point of view, and then to everyone else with reason, they're not.
Yeah, so, like, on some level, I kind of get Anakin, how he felt, you know? He's like,
Palpatine
you know
said
what?
it right, not
I
the
just
narrow
learned about you
dogmatic
guys,
view
and,
of the Jedi.
You guys are full of shit.
So
He didn't
here's
like
the
the
question.
restrictions.
Yeah, the
I get what
restrictions.
he didn't like, but they're also full of shit.
Yeah. So, are you a force sensitive Mandalorian?
I don't know. I guess if I was a paladin, I would be, but
He's a force insensitive.
Force prejudice.
I almost took. I was like, oh, I could take the Mage Slayer feat. I'd be like, that would be like being force.
A Jedi Hunter, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That would actually fit really well with the Mandalorian.
Wow, are we going to
Would.
be...
Yeah, because like that's one of the things I've always liked about the Mandalorians is that they just are like, no, we kill Jedi around here.
Are we going to be a neutral group? Like chaotic neutral?
It depends on what you guys want to be. I mean, if you guys
Put
are
my
smugglers,
alignment
you
as
can be
lawful
neutral.
evil, but that's just me.
Well, I guess it depends on who you consider evil.
Oh, yeah.
Evil is
Eye
a
of the
point of
beholder.
view in this galaxy.
I mean, on Mandalore, I might just be lawful, period. Like, no good or evil. But, you know, out here, out and about, probably seen as a little bit of evil. Back home, it's fine.
Yeah, with the
Driven by money.
Mandalorian prejudices, that would definitely be seen to the galactic whole as evil, but to your race, that's just every day. Yeah. I didn't even plan
Han
this. I'm
Solo
wearing a
was a
Millennium
pirate.
Falcon shirt.
Smuggler.
Scoundrel, yo. Let's see. I'm going to make my last name after the guy that's in Old Republic. What's his name? Ordo?
Oh yeah, Ordo. He becomes a Mandalore at one point.
Yeah, he's like one of the leaders of the Mandalorians.
Yeah. I don't know if you've read the Revan novel,
No,
but
I played the both games.
They expand on it in the Revan novel, where he and Revan, when he's trying to recover his memories, they actually go back and find the Mask of Mandalore, and Ordo becomes Mandalore the ultimate, Mandalore the diplomat, or something like that. He becomes the leader of the Mandalore.
Cool. I'll be from his house.
Which, actually,
their
that's...
houses are kind of set up like the houses of Dune, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Dope. I love everything about this.
I love the Mandalore. They're such an interesting, very Spartan-esque way of life. Everyone still has their job, but they're primarily fighters. So cool.
It's like,
I just watched 300 again yesterday.
Oh, it's on Netflix. I need to watch it.
On the ship? I'm a It's like, I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. I'm security. No, what do you do? Oh, I'm the navigator.
Yeah. You still have your primary,
profession?
but what you specialize in your free time.
What do you do? Oh, I
So I got Sirenscape all set up.
Hey, can you send that that dice roller thing in Roll20?
Yeah. I'll have to put some spaces in there that you'll have to remove. It's actually in Skype. You can just copy and paste it. I can repost it in Skype if you want.
Yeah.
Alright, technology-wise, I'm like half-assed, so I've got phone, tablet, laptop, Xbox, but everything's like separate.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I used to be so much better at this. Now I'm getting to that age where I'm like, you're changing.
Alright,
No,
so...
it just does the roll, so it doesn't actually do it.
So what I'll do is I'll post
Your
it...
macros
Screw it, just roll for me. That's fine.
Oh, you don't want to roll?
No, I
Than me doing it.
So you can
I
take...
know I had to have 2 15s.
Yep. Alright, I can roll for you here.
I rolled boss stats, so like I'm fucking set.
Alright, no...
Do it again. Do it again.
There we go.
So you could have a 13, 14, 14, 15, 16, 17.
Not
Yeah,
bad.
I like that. I like
Okay.
that.
Go for it.
Alright. Let's see here.
And for
Well,
that,
since I'm
awesome stat roll... Oh, come on, iPad. Sirenscape, no?
I got 2 17s, 15.
not to be blah, since we already got a rogue, I'm gonna do ranger. That way I could be navigation also.
Oh, I said I could
Scout.
do that. I'm human, so I get an extra skill. So
You know what? It does not hurt to have 2 different rogues, because I don't know what type of rogue she's going to be. So you can have 2 rogues when one would just be say like you had the Han Solo type where he's the swindler
you have
type
the
rogue.
scoundrel, and you have the tech nerd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll totally be scoundrel.
You have
So then you would want to focus your rogue more on charisma. Still having your rogue abilities, but you would want to be more charismatic.
Alright, so dex and charisma. What the hell was that?
That was a Wilhelm scream.
Yes.
So I put
Sirenscape.
my strength is 17, dex is 18, con is 16, int is 10, wisdom 13, charisma 14, and I get 2 starting feats. Yeah, that seems good.
Nice.
A charismatic Mandalorian. I like it.
Oh, well, I was going to be a paladin, so I was like, I'm going to do it, but like...
Are you
if I've
still
learned
rolling
anything
paladin, or
with
are you rolling
Bickerstaff,
fighter?
It's just like, if I've learned anything with Bickerstaff, it's that Nick can't help but play charismatic characters even when they have no fucking charisma.
That's like me. I'm not very intelligent, so I play dumb characters.
I'm just like decided, I'm just like, I just need to put charisma on every character because I can't help it.
So you
Like,
have
if I could change
10
anything
intelligence?
about Bickerstaff, it would be that charisma score right now.
You have
Oh,
a
yeah.
10 intelligence, you said, right?
Same here. Oh my god. I was like, I don't need charisma. Yes, you do.
Yeah, because if I take the archery, that puts my to hit at +8 with crossbows. Seems good.
Yeah.
Seems good.
You are a trained fighter. That totally makes sense.
And then I can also do the -5 with the sharpshooter.
Still +3 at level 3. That's great.
Still +3 at level 3. Yeah.
Alright, I'm 17, 17.
And it also means that people don't get half cover and 3/4 cover from me, which makes me even more dangerous.
Yeah, and you know, it just so you guys know, the lighting issue is not going to be as prevalent unless you guys do say like you found a Jedi temple or something.
All right.
Because the galaxy, everyone is majority human, so there's lights everywhere.
Right.
Some
it's
form
not
of
exactly
light.
dark out in space all the time. There are
No,
stars
there's
that
always
have
sun that you can see,
shining
and
light.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in space, you're going to be in your ship, right? So if you're on ship or if you're on planet, yeah, there might be
Unless
some
the
dark
power's
alleys,
out, there's
but
lights. Yeah,
yeah,
unless the
yeah.
power's out.
yeah, you're like 80%. There's always some form of light, so dark vision isn't a necessity if that's what you're like mandatory.
What would I consider a Doug? Elf, dwarf, or halfling?
I would say
half-elf?
a small race. So either a dwarf is medium, but they're short in stature. So I'd say either a. You can also go Volo's Guide depending on how far you want to go. There's like kobolds.
Kobold, yeah.
Kobold would be
Goblin.
good. A goblin would be a good Doug, I think. Or a halfling or a gnome of some sort.
I think Amanda said she's doing gnome for Jawa.
She's doing a rock gnome Jawa, so she's definitely the tinkerer, I'm going to wash your windows type of person, I believe.
And she was telling me something I thought was awesome, where she was like, she had an idea for Thieves' Camp being just the Jawa's language.
It could be either, yeah, it could be.
I was like, that makes sense.
Yes. It could be either be that, or it could be smuggler speak, which is basically Thieves' Camp. That works too.
Yeah, Goblin would get you Dex increased by 2 and Con by 1. That seems really good. Gets you Dark Vision. You get an ability called Fury of the Small. That totally fits a Doug.
Is there a max?
20 is your max on your Dex at the beginning.
Without magic items, yeah, 20.
Alright, so I got 17, 17. So
that
next
puts you at a 19
16.
Dex. Seems good. Seems good.
Yeah, and then level 4, you could take either a feat or
And then
2 stat
you
increases.
Put a +1. Put your 15 into your con. You'd have a 16 con with a 19 Dex, and then you could just put your stats everywhere else, and you'd just be a boss.
Yeah, and it depends on what type of Doug you're going to be too, because you could be like that Doug in episode 2 where he was just riding in the cart, but he was more of like a senatorial type Doug, so he might not be as strong as like your standard.
Definitely not strong, but totally
Yeah,
deadly.
but you still have like a. You're still strong enough though, like because you
Oh, yeah.
like walk on your hands, so you still have like a 14 strength. That makes sense.
Or a 13 strength, yeah, whatever you want to dump in there.
Yeah.
Alright, so I got 17 on Dex, 17 on Charisma. So what can I dump?
Wait, didn't you got 15, 17, 13, 16, 14, 14.
If you wanted to, you could put a 16 in dexterity that gets you 18. You could put a 17 in
17
whatever.
and something.
Are you being a goblin?
Yeah, if you do Goblin, you could do
I don't have my book
16
out right
in Dex, 17 in Con. That would give you an 18 Dex, 18 Con. and then you can just do your stats. Everything else wherever you want.
If you're gonna maximize, but depending on if you want to have some negatives, so that way, or not
doesn't
negatives,
fucking
but
maximize around here.
yeah, if you want some odd numbers, then you can, if you're planning on a feat later or
Roll
stat
again,
increases.
Amanda.
Hello.
Is she in the call?
She is. I heard
Do it
baby.
again.
I have a very
More
fussy
fat.
baby.
Another one.
Sorry.
You need another roll.
Do it again.
Another
Do it
one.
Do it
again.
again.
Now, if you
Again.
even if you don't get 2 15s,
That one. Right there. You stole
you don't. I will say this: you don't have to take that one.
I
You'd
don't
have
know.
3
You
negatives.
said 2 15s. There are 2 15s.
There are 2 15s. But I like Colville's rule also. Like, if you get like an 18 and then mediocre stats, but not a whole bunch of negatives, you can still take the 18 if you really want it.
Oh God, let me look at I have my character sheet on a piece of paper because that's all I can.
And you're
get
going to be a
today.
rock gnome, which is what, intelligence and dex?
Yeah, intelligence +2 and con +1.
Con +1.
Yeah, so
And you're being a rogue.
which is
So you could do, yeah, I would say do one more roll.
one more roll.
Do one more set, because the 3 negatives is going to be really hard. All right, one more. Get another set of 15s.
Oh my god.
Jeez, Amanda, come on.
Guys,
It's all right.
fussy baby, fussy dice. It's all working out really good so far.
If this is the way she's going to roll, she better roll high, because she's probably going to die in this campaign. Keep going.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh my god. Okay, well there's a good stat array. 11, 11, 13, 12, 15, 17.
You glad you didn't do that by hand?
Oh yeah, with a baby? Good god.
Got it.
I assume this is going to happen to Amanda. I'm going to be pulling that out a lot, so just be ready for it.
Alright. I'm not following, so 17, 14, 16, 14. What do I have left?
On
So-
yours. You have
17, 16, 15,
2 14s and a 13.
15, 14, 13.
So I need my 15. What am I missing? The 13.
Yeah. 17,
Yeah, 13 is
16,
gonna be your low
13,
stat.
15, 14, 14.
Dump stat would be charisma for a Doug.
Or a 13.
For a 13. Slightly charismatic.
I thought for being dastardly I had to maximize, because that's where I put my 17.
You can do whatever you want. If you want even numbers, you can move like your 16 into your dex and then your 17 into your con. Then you get 2
That's
even
what I would
numbers.
do, because then you'd get 18, 18.
Yeah. And then you would still have 2 odd numbers that you could, if you want to take a feat that gives you a +1, it's a little more enticing to use it on that.
Alright, so strength 14, dex 16, con 17. Charisma would be... That'll be my dump, so...
13 in charisma and then 14
Intelligence.
wisdom, 14 intelligence.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, that'll put you at 18 dex, 18 con, 15 strength, 13 charisma, 14 and 14 for intelligence wisdom. Nice. Powerful characters, I like it.
How are we doing HP?
None.
None. Do max to level 3.
Dope. That's a lot of HP.
Yeah.
That's,
I know humans 10, so...
What's that?
Ever played a goblin?
Goblin?
It's for your class.
Oh,
Not
for
based
Rogue.
on race anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Rogue. Rogue is a
So many additions.
D6, right? Or D8.
It was never race. It was always class.
The older, I think, first edition.
Yeah, it might have had a modifier based on your race, but
Yeah, y'all gotta remember, I've been playing since like 83.
yeah. So it's going to be a D8 plus your Constitution modifier per level. So it'll be 24 plus whatever your con is, which I think is a 4.
36.
Plus 3 for con.
Plus 3 for con.
And 33.
So 33.
I thought you had two 18s.
He decided not to take our advice.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I did. 14, 16, 17, 13, 15, 14.
Oh,
you
add
your
plus
racial
2 to
bonus.
Dex.
You have to add the plus 2 and plus
You
1.
didn't put your racial bonus in there. So you have 18 Dex,
How
18
do I do
con.
that?
So 3 levels, that is
36.
24 plus 12, so
plus 2 to
36.
Dex. Boop, sorry.
No, you're fine.
And plus 1 to con.
Mm-hmm. So you should have 18 Dex, 18 con.
God, that is beast.
Well, it's space, so you should be hardy.
Yeah, I decided to take more feats instead of bumping up all my stats. Because if I do just regular human, I get plus 1 to all my stats, and that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, that's
but
what, 2 18s, a 16, and a 14, and a 15? Good God.
It'd be 18, 18, 16, 15, 14. It would be that
11.
if I did
Plus a feat.
But I decided to take sharpshooter instead.
Sharpshooter, and are you taking crossbow expert as well?
Yeah, I've got sharpshooter and crossbow expert.
So you're doing
they
the
don't
heavy
get
repeater,
cover from
total
me. And if they try to
meathead.
get in close on me, I'm just like, boom!
Close range burst. I love it.
Yep. Nope. You're far away from me. I shoot you. You're close to me. I shoot you. The main lesson you need to learn here is I'm going to shoot you.
Now the real question is, so are you going fighter or are you going paladin?
I'm going to go fighter because paladin doesn't have ranged as one of its fighting styles.
True.
And that makes me sad. I don't understand it, but it is what it is. To roll those.
Armor class.
That's based on your aura. That's gonna be what? Leather plus. So that's 11 plus your dex.
11 plus dex modifier, so 15.
Hmm.
What's my background?
I don't modify. Keeps wanting to highlight. Where did I put you?
What's your background, Ryan?
Oh, you got to put in a piece of armor down in your armor section.
More or less a bit of a tinkerer on a quest for information. But for like,
Why have I left Mandalore and fallen in with you people?
That's a really good question. Are you indebted to one of the people on board?
Fuck
As a
that
Mandalorian
shit.
code?
I'd be a mercenary before that. Mandalorians are mercenaries too. Like they are.
Oh yeah,
notorious.
especially after the war, they definitely sold their blasters for highest coin.
Yeah, they're definitely notorious mercenaries. So it's like, might do that.
Yeah, once they got spread,
Like,
bounty hunters.
oh, urban bounty hunter. That's one.
Galactic bounty hunter, more like it.
Could just be a bounty hunter. Bounty hunter it is. All right, I like it. Oh, that's so derivative of Jango Fett, though. Oh no. He's Mandalorian, right?
You could take the mercenary veteran.
That's the other one. I think that one makes more sense. I'm gonna go with
It,
that
it
one.
does,
Less
especially
derivative.
if you're selling it. If you're staying with a crew, you would definitely be a mercenary. Otherwise, you'd be out doing your own thing.
I agree. All right. Select one skill for variant human. Can I do navigator's tools for that?
Does mercenary give you any tool proficiencies? I don't think they do.
It gives you land vehicles, and perception. No.
I would take another feat or another skill and just put navigator tools as your vehicles.
Intimidation, and then you get land vehicles and a gaming set with mercenary.
I would say your land. Well, actually, that might come into play if you got speeder. So keep that. Yeah, you can take as a tool proficiency as a human. That's fine.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. If we ever come to a planet where there's land vehicles, you'll definitely want that.
Yeah.
Just because you can pilot a ship doesn't mean you can pilot a speeder.
Yeah, I don't pilot spaceships.
Hey,
Well, no, I was just saying in general.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't pilot spaceships. I pilot things that require my reflexes and stuff.
Yeah, you might have been a when the Mandalorian War was going on, a survivor that was part of the what did they call them? I think they called them the Valkyries or something like that. They were basically manned. If you remember episode 3, where the troopers were walking on those little tanks, the little two-legged tanks before the ATSTs, they had something similar to that in the Mandalorian Wars. They might have been like war behemoths or something of that nature. So you would have knowledge at the very least of Mandalorian armor type things. For swoop bikes too. Speed brakes. Amanda class. Sounds like an Imperial frigate.
Sounds like we got the first cheat of your campaign.
Stop it. You gotta click the pencil first. Well, that was a stupid button. Alright, stop it.
Arcane Archer. I forgot that was an option.
What's that?
Arcane Archer.
Oh, yeah. If you want to... Okay, how do you stop this piece of shit? Stop it. It's still going. Stop.
Magic arrow.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I almost had it. One more time. I would have got it. Oh, there it is. Wait.
I don't know how to get this thing to stop.
Lucas, are you trying to send us a message right
Yes,
now?
I am. It won't stop. Distract signal. Let's just turn everything off and start it back up. See if that works.
Mark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
Some of these things, they're like, oh, I'll play once, and some of them are like, I'm going to go until the end of time. See if I can put a little ambiance in here. Some beeps and bumps and... Alright. So we have the Mandalorian mercenary, a Doug pilot, maybe not a pilot, but maybe someone who knows how to fly. I don't know what your background's going to be yet.
I chose pilot just because reflex.
Oh, you get
Say it's inherent to your race. Kind of makes sense.
Right.
But your background will determine, I think, better what your profession would be. You may know how to fly, but that may not be your primary. It may be out of necessity that you have to fly the ship, not necessarily out of what you're known for.
Car thief.
A what? A card thief?
Car. Or spaceship thief.
Oh, okay. So we're looking at space pirate.
Chaotic neutral.
commandeer. We're gonna commandeer.
Commandeer,
that
nautical term. Okay. Okay, so... And then we have a Jawa technician, maybe? And Ryan, what would you say your profession was?
Engineer.
Engineer. Okay, so we got a tinkerer and an engineer. Fair enough.
We'll call him Jordy.
So, we would assume, based on Ted's choice of being a space pirate, that you commandeered this spaceship. And at some point, he hired... what's your name, Nick?
Amic Ordo.
Amic. Alright, so he would have hired Amic as muscle, or beforehand to working together. You are a mercenary. He's, a brigand. Not necessarily opposed in ideals. So you come across the ship. You have the ship. We would assume that Amic is the hired muscle. How would Ryan's character... You changed the name on me. Scathos. How would Scathos get involved with a pirate and a Mandalorian mercenary?
I could imagine that at some point, whenever he commandeered this ship, some potential damage was taken, or some not access to all systems were not available, and so he might need to take it into somebody who might be able to, or capable of overriding some of those subsystems put in, and knowing it's going to take a while, kind of just hopping on board to make the repairs as we go, kind of a thing, rather than sticking around one place too long.
Okay, so commandeer the ship, got a mercenary for muscle. Maybe he hired the mercenary before he commandeered the ship to have Amic's assistance in taking the ship. Fled the spaceport. Took maybe some small arms fire, or maybe quoting the Last Jedi, not the Last Jedi, Force Awakens. Someone put a compressor on the hyperdrive. You jumped the hyperdrive, you didn't know, and it broke something, so you had to go to a nearby planet, and then you find Ryan's character is Scathos, and he happened to be working the mechanics dock when you landed on the planet. You hire him on to do your maintenance. What would your alignment be, Ryan?
Probably neutral.
Do you care if you service pirates, or do you... Because he would have to come in with either falsified documents, or if you just like, whoever's coming paying, I'm game.
Kind of just whoever's paying.
Okay, so I would say that's more of like a neutral
Yeah.
concern with the war at large. Okay, so you wouldn't care to service a pirate ship as long as you're getting paid and, you know, temporary housing, I guess.
Pretty much.
In this case. The Jawa, on the other hand, is going to be a harder... Was the Jawa on board in the cargo hold because they were trying to...
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, I was already here. And
You were already on the ship.
I'm like, oh, fuck.
Okay.
Then I start putting pieces back on the ship because I'm like, well, I'm going to be here for a while, so...
All right.
This needs to stay.
So, Jawas are known for... Or not known for their engineering prowess. You know, they are the rednecks of the galaxy. So...
Perfect.
Oh,
Because I don't know much about spaceships, so this will be just
the
like
scavengers,
this.
yeah.
Like I could connect to that. Let's just screw it in.
I mean, you've seen the Sandcrawler. They just throw a bunch of crap in there and hope it sells.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And it works.
So you were in the cargo hold. You were in the cargo hold before... let's see, Ted, have you named your character yet?
Oh, yeah.
Valwa?
Valwa.
All right. All right, so Valwa has Amic. Yeah, so Valwa has Amic, and they're commandeering the ship. And unbeknownst to them, there's a Jawa that is currently trying to take scrap parts out of the ship. When they leave the planet and the compressor on the hyperdrive goes and fails, they find themselves on some planet that they can reach. We don't know yet. Where they find Scathos. Scathos comes on and says, "Oh, I can fix it, but it's going to take quite a while." The Salusi are very diligent of their work, so they tend to work slow. But everything that they do mechanically is pristine and perfect. So you get some repairs going, enough to, say, pull off the compressor and at least get yourself back out into space, because you want to refill and get out your pirates. You just commandeered a ship. You haven't had time to change the codes on the ship, so you don't want to stay on port too long before they try to check your credentials. You get out and you're flying in space. What do you guys want to do? We'll throw a little either RP or dice rolling in this session 0.
Let's see. I assume this spaceship has a map.
I would say this particular ship would be a private vessel that has some of the safer hyperspace routes installed on the nav, so it's the common routes, not necessarily back routes or smuggling routes dialed in. So if you wanted to jump to a trade route, okay. I guess the biggest question is, if you have the overall map, I want Ted and Nick to pick the planet that they started from, and then we'll go from there, seeing how far they would get before the hyperdrive blew up.
Oh my god.
Now,
Oh my God.
just so everyone knows.
Simple things like picking out my armor. Jeez.
No, I know. Okay, so just so you know, there is a galactic war going on. Yes, pick a planet to die on. No, there's a galactic war going on. The Galactic Republic has the core worlds, the colony, and the inner rim, we'll say, on the overall map. They are actively controlling that. The outer rim and the expansion region are controlled by the Sith Empire. So if you stole this planet from, say, someone. Go ahead.
Mandalore is still free as of right now.
Mandalore.
Since
The
outside
populace would be. Yeah, we'll say the planet is free, but the populace is without their leader, so they all went to mercenary work.
I'm fine with that. As long as we don't have to serve the stupid Republic.
No, yeah, so I would say I don't even know if Mandalore is on this map. I didn't look
yeah,
through it.
Here's what we should do. All right, we need to play both sides of this conflict and sell weapons to both sides.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's
Exactly.
perfectly fine. So if you would have stolen a ship, would you have stolen it from someone who is Republic centric or Empire centric?
Republic.
Either Republic or neutral, probably.
Republic or neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would probably be call it the inner rim, I think is where you would pull the ship from, because that's kind of a gray area. The Empire's encroaching on the inner rim, maybe just inside the expansion region, which is really like Dara 4, Vandalhelm, or something on the inner rim.
How about from Kilfex to Yagdul?
Okay.
Is that O or
Hold on.
A?
I'm zooming in.
Yeah. Hold on, I can't tell. I'm
Purple
gonna say
line
it's.
meets
I'm gonna say it's an
blue
O.
line.
I'm gonna say it's an O.
Your ass is from Malastare, right?
What's that?
He's from Malastare, right?
No, I don't believe the Dougs are from Malastare. There is actually the
But Doug's like they go to Malastare to do pod racing. And
they would, yes. So I would say the mid rim.
could have hooked up on Malastare because that's right on a trade route. Like
Mhm.
that's where gambling goes on. There's shady shit that happens in Malastare. I've heard of Malastare.
Yeah, so there's the Hydian Way would be a very common trade route.
Because Malastare is like a gangster planet, right?
Where's
Yeah,
it at?
yeah.
I'm
It's not
not
nearly
seeing
as bad as like a Hutt controlled planet, so that's still more. It's like
that's like Wild West. That doesn't count.
yeah,
This would
yeah.
be
So
like,
so this
is
is like
Italy, like the mob controls this shit. Like
this is like gangs of New York, right? There's police, there's firemen, there's law, but the law is controlled,
Well, they're
by
paid
chaos.
yeah, they're paid off.
They're paid off. So
Yeah.
Malastare. Now, question: do you want to steal from someone on Malastare? Could be an important ship.
Alright, so
Rapier
north, south,
would be
east, west, on the
a-
map.
We're not smart.
See, there's so many blades. Do you
they
want
all,
it to
like,
be
pyro blades?
well?
Isn't that
Let's
like
think
what
of it
they're
this
called?
way, Amanda. Do you want it to be a energy-based weapon, or would you rather it be a rusty piece of iron that you picked up in your junker travels?
That's literally a sword.
That would be perfect. A rusty thingy.
All right,
He has a literal sword.
call it a rusty iron rapier, just for the
Okay.
sake of so you know what you have to roll for it, but it's a rusty piece of steel.
Oh, you're
So they get tetanus anytime you hit them.
Maybe.
Nobody's from
That's 2 poison.
Jack. Oh, that is nowhere.
Don't push it. Just on a side note, potions I'm going to be calling stim packs. So you're going to have like greater stim packs, standard stim packs, superior stim packs, that kind of thing.
I want to go to Naboo. It's right there.
What's that?
I was gonna say Naboo is right there.
Yep. I'm going to see if I can throw a picture up for you guys of the ship that you will be stealing.
Yeah, let's steal a ship from Malastare and then.
So here's the ship that you're going to be stealing.
Oh, that looks
Perfect.
cool.
Yeah, we'll put some flames on it.
Let's see.
Or
so-
you might want to keep it
so
inconspicuous, depending
how
on
far
what
did
you
you
want
say
to do.
we get?
I would say, yeah. I would say anything within... I think I have this measured out here. Let me see if I'm on the right layer here. Yeah. How do I know what layer you guys are on?
Enough,
Objects and tokens.
if we're heading out into like uncharted space.
Yeah, so I would say every meter is like 1 light year. So actually, let's do a roll. Let's have let's get a navigation roll from Amik. And Valwa, let's get a...
It's just like their last name.
Wait, what is?
Amek.
Amek.
Just
sorry.
like their last name.
Amek. When I see that at a glance, I think Olmec in the Legend of the Hidden Temple. But, Amek.
Ryan, how did you read it?
I read it Amik.
Damn it!
All right, that's fine. I'll get it.
It's just like your own last name.
It's the first session. It's the first session. I'll get it. So Amek and Valwa.
I thought it was 2 for some reason.
All right. So Amek, I need a navigation roll to try to get coordinates to another location on a known trade route, which would probably either be coming from where you're going, either Solist, Vanderhelm would be in range, and possibly, of course, that one's in the crease. I can't see it, but Nelvin, it's the white planet next to the green line at the bottom, which is on the Carillion run, which is a common, yes, that one there, which is a common run for trade routes, because Carillia has, the massive shipyards, so they're going to have a very safe common trade route. So you might get to Ryloth, Tatooine, depending on your rolls. The further away that you would get from the blue trade route, the better for you, obviously, because you're fleeing where you stole the ship. So let's get a navigation roll if you're ready, Nick.
Is that a wisdom based?
You know what? Let's see. Wisdom would be what? Instinct? I would say give me an intelligence roll for just to see how quickly you could recall navigation numbers, like coordinates.
Well, I'm just asking, so for navigators tools, is it a wisdom check or a...
I would assume that it's intelligence. But in this particular instance, I'm going to say that it's going to be a wisdom, because if you can recall the knowledge of nearby planets, then you would, by instinct... Actually, let's keep it wisdom, because by instinct, as a mercenary, you would have to travel to many planets. So we're going to say wisdom is going to be an instinct, so you just know that you have to type in these coordinates to go.
Yeah, because navigation is a combination of perception and survival.
Yeah, and sometimes it's intelligence based on, do I recall reading in this book this hyperspace lane that's whatever. So I might have you do a double roll on unknown planets or planets you might have not been on this side of the sector. All right, so 9. So in this case, I'm going to use that as a measurement. You guys are coming from what, Malastair?
Malastair.
All right, so 9 gets you to Ryloth, Nelvan, Kalarba, yeah, Druckenwell, Fullen. So that basically gets you on the Carillion line. If you are going in that direction. If you're going north, closer to the inner rim, you're going to get yourself to Kifix, maybe Garmin. You can get to Bestine. So you have the 9 is giving you a good.
Makes more sense that we'd have a Jawa.
Yeah, that gives you a good option of getting closer to one of those planets. So that's telling you at a quick, because you were escaping, right? So at a quick thing, you're like, okay, I could remember about 9 planets within, a quick code. So that's your navigation tool. Now we need a flight check. So let's go with, I'm going to say sleight of hand. So give me a sleight of hand check for Valwa, please.
Dexterity be with your proficiency there. Assuming you're proficient with flying vehicles, which at this point I'm assuming. Okay, now back to the important decisions, like what armor I was wearing. Jeez.
I want to throw you right into it, man.
Jeez.
Oh, come on. You know you're wearing heavy armor.
Uh-huh.
I said you know you're wearing heavy armor.
Can I wear heavy armor?
Chain shirt's heavy armor.
Chain shirt is medium armor, homie.
What chain mail is heavy armor?
Chain mail's
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as a fighter, you would get that.
Well,
if you
but
choose to.
do I need to be stealthy?
That's up to you.
It's Star Wars.
And with
It's-
the mail.
Chain shirt, I could be stealthy.
Well, let's
Yeah,
put it this way. There's
I'd have a 15 AC instead of 16 AC.
yeah, no, yeah. I guess that's up to you. What kind of bounty hunter? What kind of Mandalorian are you? Are you? I don't give a shit. I'm gonna come in and take your
There we go.
house.
Can I wear a breastplate? I'd have 14 plus 2, so that'd give me a 16 AC, and I could still stealth.
Yes.
Um,
breastplate is,
I would
medium,
give
but
you the-
it's expensive.
Yeah, I would give you the option of either having the heavy crossbow or the breastplate. At this point.
All right, out of game. Ryan,
Yep.
you know this. Why you totally cheated? No. You saw me trying to do the same thing. No.
All right, what's up?
Deep thought.
What?
Oh, I was just saying the heavy crossbow only costs 50 gold.
All right, how
Yeah,
much does breastplate cost?
400.
400.
I would give it to the Mandalorian based on that it's his combat armor. If he decides to go that route.
I mean, I could wear.
But
a chain
I would
shirt.
say that you would
One
have to
AC,
go.
it's not
You would have to come up
big
with light crossbow, for now.
Nah, fuck that shit. I'll wear a chain shirt then. I'm not using light anything.
What about light beer?
Light beer. All right. So, Ted, are you able to give me a sleight of hand check?
Sleight of hand or perception?
Sleight of hand. So this is going to be manipulating controls. So just for the future, flying the ship is going to be sleight of hand. It's manipulating controls, throwing in hyperdrive, pressing all the buttons in accurate order.
+4.
Okay.
So we go.
Plus your proficiency, so it should be +6.
+6. It'll be +6 to whatever you roll. If he chose sleight of hand as a skill.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, I didn't know he had skill and.
I thought he has
that.
the
Well,
proficiency with vehicles or whatever.
What skills did you choose for being a rogue? To be proficient in, and at level 3, you'll be expertise in something. So if you want to be expertise in a pilot, then you'd have double proficiency.
Well, considering the path I've already chosen, I would have chosen pilot because I have a
Okay.
specific mindset.
So it'll be +8 to your roll. Damn. You only rolled a 7?
Yeah.
All right. So you get to, I'm going to say Nelvan. You get to Nelvan, so I'm going to actually shrink your little ship here, if I can. Give me the thing. I don't even know what token layer this thing's on. Is it on the map layer? Yeah.
It's on the map layer, yeah.
All right, you guys can see it though, right? You can see the ship.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna put the ship right outside Nelvan. So this, oh god, everything's ruined. All right, let me move this to the token layer so I don't fucking lose it. All right. All right, so with a 15, you successfully limp what I will label as the ghost. That is your ship. The ghost lands on Nelvan, and this is where you hire on Ryan's character, Scathos. So this is where Scathos comes on board.
Stupid name for a ship.
The ghost?
What a great name for a ship.
I know, right?
Who asked you?
If you guys want to come up with a better name, go for it. That's just what I had off the top of my head.
Firefly?
Just wanted to get it.
It's actually from Star Wars, so... It's from the new cartoon, I'm sorry. Alright,
I
so...
have a high charisma, but I'm a dick.
Alright, so you guys head out and you see Sparks, the emergency...
What do you call a long sword? Vibroblade?
Yeah, I'd call that a vibroblade. If you had a scimitar, it'd be a vibro saber.
Vibro?
Yeah, vibroblade. A dagger would be like a vibro knife or a vibro scalpel, depending on how you want to flavor it. So you take off into hyperspace in a rush because the local authorities are coming to get you. And then you hear a giant clunking noise. See if it comes through.
You keep flying, I'll check it out.
And you kind of hear the klaxons going off. And you know that something is not quite right in the drivetrain, because the emergency fire suppression system has gone off in the engine room. That's your jump to hyperspace, by the way. So fire comes off, and you see that instead of glowing blue with normal hyperspace travel, it's actually glowing red because it is overheated. Give me a... let's see. How do you want to approach the failing hyperdrive?
Alright, is there a...
little shout out over his shoulder? Shit! This isn't good!
Is there space debris around asteroids?
Sorry, say that again?
Space debris, asteroids, anything to hide?
No, because you actually jumped right out onto the planet, so you're in the gravitational pull of the planet.
What do we do?
So, the reason the engine is
Things are
hot
breaking.
because I hijacked stuff, correct?
Yeah, you could have broken something while you were trying to pull parts out while you were on
I
Malastare.
assume so.
Give me a stealth check.
Yeah, I was gonna ask on that because I'm a rogue. I get
Yes.
to choose two that I'm like double proficient or whatever.
Expertise, yes.
Yeah, how do I put that on the character sheet? Because I was gonna do stealth
Click the
and
green
sleight of
button
hand.
again, it'll turn yellow, and that's double proficiency.
Ooh. Actually, I was gonna do investigation. Okay, that's nifty. Okay. Oh, there's my stealth check. I got 21.
Great.
I am hiding.
All right.
With-
No,
with peace
no,
in
you're
hand.
not.
Oh fuck.
What
Oh,
is your
Genesis.
your perception? You're not looking. You're looking at the hyperdrive. So what's your passive perception,
Uh,
Amic?
I'm proficient.
I would assume it's like a 14 or 15, right?
It's 14 because I'm proficient. Yeah.
Okay, so you're worried. You're yelling. You're turning back. You're not quite looking in the little cubby hole right next to the hyperdrive, where there's a little Java that is holding a crucial piece as she tucks it into her pack, thinking, "Oh my God, Amanda, you're gonna have to come up with a nickname."
Yeah, she's gonna be so.
Did you do like a random?
It's gonna be so much
What
fun
the
to say.
fuck?
Rakatchikin Cell. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you Rot.
Call you Cell. Hey,
I'm calling you Rot.
I was gonna go with Cell.
You Cell.
Cell? Okay, I'm gonna call you Cell. So
We're gonna defeat you with a spirit bomb.
there we go. We're gonna kill you in outer space. All right, so you're hiding. You're not making a noise because there's a. How tall are you, Amic?
Hold on, I need dice. 1 second. I gotta
Like
random
6.
roll some
I'm
shit.
thinking Mandalorian. Like what? 6'2", 6'3", maybe.
I don't know.
At least double my size.
At least double the size of this Java. You're gonna be impressive no matter what.
All right, I'm gonna roll this d12 twice. Here we go. So we're gonna do 5, and then 4. So we'll say base is 6. So he's 6'9".
Oh jeez.
Fucking
Jesus.
tall. So you got a basketball player.
5'10". We'll say base 5'10" Mandalorian.
Yeah. So you're 5'9" or 6'9"?
So he's 6'7".
6'7". Okay. 6'7". So you see Cell sees a massive creature. Even at your full height standing up, you still have to look straight up to see him. So you're cowering in the corner because, oops, I pulled this out while they were jumping. And it's probably not in my best interest to show myself at this point.
Yeah, definitely stashing that in my bag, so it's not obvious I took it even when they do find me.
So we got a 15 flight that gets you to there. Oh God, what would be like an emergency maintenance thing? Oh right. So how are you approaching the fixing of the hyperdrive, Amic? You're yelling back.
At his Volwa, what the fuck do I do?
I can fly, but I can't fucking fix shit.
All right. What does Amic do to that? Does he resort to his brutish heritage and try to smash it into submission?
He investigates this shit.
All right, give me a roll. Natural 20.
20.
Okay.
Nice.
You give it the once over and you realize, oh, the nav chip popped out during hyperspace and you can't find it anywhere in the hold.
Well, hold on, the nav chip is missing.
Kind of important. Find it, please.
I'd like to crouch even smaller into my little cubby.
We'll carry your role. He's focused solely on this, thermonuclear bomb in this ship while you guys are in open space.
Start searching around the engine room for this ship.
Okay.
Or a
Give me just a general perception. This is gonna be electronic. There's no other electronics besides what's in place. 11. Looking around, you don't see it. Not that you know, but it's not there. So
Ducks don't sweat, but he's starting to sweat.
he's starting to sweat. Okay, as a pilot, you would know that once you're in the gravitational space, you can shut down non-crucial systems and go to sublight drives and try to coast it into the planet to cool down the hyperdrive.
Oh, so we won't get pulled back in. Okay, that's what I wanted.
You'll be pulled gently if you go into sublights. It does not use the hyperdrive, so you can relieve stress off of the main engine of the system.
All right.
So,
I should
give me-
settle down and wait for a solution until
Yep.
we have to make a decision.
All right. At that moment, you hear, as you're turning on the sublights, coasting in, maybe running a scan of the planet, looking for active settlements, maybe a spaceport of some kind. You find a spaceport on the scanners. It's got adequate scanners. It's not anything special, but you find what seems to be a relatively remote space station. And you hear on the line, Skathos calling you in. He is the lead mechanic on the dock.
Unidentified ship, please identify yourself.
This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm just
Oh, this totally.
sorry, I couldn't resist.
We're picking up variances in your beryllium transporter field coils. What seems to be the problem?
This is Go 7. We have experienced problems. Need assistance. Can I land?
Fly into Dock Bay 7. We'll see to you as soon as payment is discussed.
Payment, yes. Okay, we can do that.
I
got
hope you're the
ship
one
in.
paying that, man.
Close
So,
comms. Shut up!
close comms. As Skathos hears in the background a very muttered, "I hope you can pay him." You come in on the sublight drives, really kind of cruising, limping it along. You hear some sputtering, like an old 56 Chevy or something. It's sputtering and popping all over the damn place. Little bit of smoke's coming out the back. And you come in and you land nice and soft, hopefully, on the landing platform. You're proficient enough. I know you're going to give a smooth landing. I'm just... so you land on the platform, and you have the codes to get in. You have the codes to lock it, but you have not changed the designators or the insignias or the ship's VIN number, as it were. So it is registered to someone on Malistaire, who is not you.
Yeah, I know. We just left this planet.
Yeah, right. So you're now on Nelvin, and you're seeking repairs. The hyperdrive is going to be, I'm going to say, towards the top back of the ship. The cargo hold would be below it. So in order to leave the ship, you're going to have to go through the cargo hold. So you have to come back. I assume that you, as the pilot, would be in charge of this transaction, or would be Amick doing it.
I guess for the time being, just to, I don't know, save time. Being the
Together.
roguish person, I'm going to try to warp it. Yeah, it's not going to be handwritten documents. Just bought this thing. It's a piece of crap. I'm just trying to get moving.
Okay. So you do
spare on so we can get going.
So as you land, you kind of go over to the console, insert a flimsy plast disc into the console, and kind of type up a fake bill of sale. When that comes up, if it comes up, then we'll have a roll for that. But so you pull out your flimsy, that's your fake bill of sale, with the real ID number for the ship. You come off the bridge, straight back, down a set of ladders into the cargo hold where you meet up with Amick, and you press a hand pad on the side, and it lowers down the ramp. You hear the hissing noise of the rams opening, CO2 releases. Air is breathable on this planet, no harmful. Amick, with his Mandalorian armor, doesn't have to really worry about that anyway, because it's got its own air filtration system in it anyway. So you come out and you start walking down the cargo ramp, and you see Skathos walking up, slithering up, Slithering up. Slithering up. This is kind of new.
Leave the ship.
Yep.
I look at him and say, "Get us ready without help, if you can."
Oh, okay. Yeah. Amick will stay on the ship and try to fix this thing.
Okay. So you two meet at the cargo hold, assuming you're both going to walk out. Amick stays in the hold as you walk down the ramp. What is Cell doing? You now have the room. The Mandalorian, the giant, has left your presence. What does Cell do?
I'm gonna try and rummage around and get some more stuff.
All right, give me an investigation. All right, so you'd be in the engine room, so you find engine parts, spare parts, you find some tools like a spanner, you find some like tape, some Jawa tape, miscellaneous tools. There's nothing else currently loose. The only thing that's broken is what you took. Nothing really shiny. You're not in the cargo hold. There's no like clothes or boxes of goods because you're in the engine room. So you could steal tools. But there's really nothing.
I'm gonna steal some tools and stuff, just random shenanigans from there.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go to the door and listen and see if I can hear to maybe go into a different room and start investigating a different room.
Okay. Give me a perception and then a stealth. Okay.
Oh jeez. My first roll was really great. It's all downhill from there.
Yep. That's our Amanda. So you hear the CO2 releasing, you hear the ramps going down, you hear the brrrr as the ramp is coming down and then hitting the ground with a soft crunch. You hear 2 sets of boots, but then it stops. And that's all you hear. You just hear the kind of the ticking sound of like an engine in the cold. It's the hyperdrive is trying to cool down after being forced through a hyperspace jump. But you move quietly enough that you can find yourself a room. On this upper level, you're going to find, I would assume, crew quarters on one side, and maybe like a galley on the other. The upper floor will have the galley and the crew quarters. On this upper level, the lower level will have like the med bay and maybe like the armory where you guys where some work can be done on weapons or whatever maintenance things. You wouldn't do it in the engine room in case of sparks causing something to explode. You would do it in the armory.
Yeah, I want to try and find an armory so I can look for more.
So you would have to go downstairs, down the ladder, and then hide across, which with the 15, that's fine. But at that same moment, once Amick is down on the lower level, he's going to turn around and start heading back in your direction. Amick, give me a perception roll, please.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah.
About to be made.
You notice as you go up the ladder back into the engine room, there happens to be a Jawa right in your face.
Oh.
Nothing particular of note. It's your standard Jawa, couple belt pouches, maybe a bandolier, hood up. No one knows what a Jawa looks like underneath. But you got a good idea of what's on the bottom side of the robe, which is a black, raisin-like skin texture of the legs. And that's about as far as that you can see.
He pulls out his holdout blaster, his side piece, just points it at the Jawa, and he says, "You took my navigation ship, didn't you?"
Gonna instinctively raise my hands up and probably like drop a tool that I was trying to stash in the process.
You're on a ladder.
I'm gonna stay on a ladder for dear life. No navigation ship here. Nope.
Can I?
And I'm gonna like
grapple?
slowly start to walk up the ladder. Like,
Can I grapple the Jawa?
You could reach the Jawa from where she was coming down the ladder. So give me an athletics, Cell. Give me an acrobatics or athletics. Acrobatics.
Yeah.
So she pulls her legs up tight into a ball, and she tries to start shimming up the ladder. Cell, give me an intelligence roll real quick. 10.
oh,
Okay, so you took a part of the hyperdrive. You know what a hyperdrive is. You don't know that you took the nav chip.
I'm
So
innocent.
You think that it is not related to what you just took out of the hyperdrive before it turned red and started overheating. So you're scurrying back up the ladder, and you have this giant of a man trying to reach up and grab your legs.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and scramble as fast as I can and just be like, nope, no chip.
I follow up the ladder.
Okay, so while this Three Stooges performance goes on, down on the landing pad, you have Scathos coming out of the maintenance shed out onto the platform. There's hoses around for fuel. There's cargo containers on one side. There's a skiff to carry cargo to and from. There's some robots. There's some beeps and boops going around. And Volwa steps off the platform to meet Scathos halfway.
Hello. Oh, you say you're having problems.
Yes, we can't reach hyperdrive. We're not sure. I just bought this. I need a spare. Can you help us?
Damn chip.
Yes. Show me the way to your hyperdrive container.
I'm assuming
yes,
that
please.
Scathos has his tools with him. At least
Kind
like
of-
like
a hover
a
pad behind him, about 30 feet, slowly floating as Scalos is slithering up. Comes this giant toolbox on top of the hover pad.
Please tell me that's Tensor's floating disc.
Basically, like a hat serpent from the waist down, humanoid from the waist up, kind of like the Yanti dudes.
Yep.
Monstrosity ones.
Cool.
And funny enough, Ryan and I talked about this. There's a Star Wars race for that.
I know.
For the Yuan-Ti.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use them in my campaign eventually.
They're
kind of like a long time.
Yeah, they're the Saluzi, which is the sister race to the kind of like frog people, the Saluis Van, which are the guy that was with Lando in Episode 6. Nian Nub, he was a co-pilot. He's a Saluisi, or a Saluis Van. I don't know what the term is for those guys, but there's like two races on that planet, kind of like the Gungans and the Naboo. There's the Saluisi and the Saluis Van. He is the Serpent race. So he's slithering up, cargo tray coming up behind him. It comes into the cargo hold, can't go up because it's up a ladder. So it'll hold there and it'll wait for you. So you two both go back in, and relatively quickly you hear the noise of a somewhat scuffle, because you know your Mandalorian friend is thumping about somewhere on the second floor of your ship. And we'll take it back to Amick and Cell. Cell, how are you either trying to persuade your way out of this, or are you gonna just run like a chicken with your head cut off?
I'm gonna run. Try and hide in like a corner or something when I round a corner, like tuck into the side or something.
Okay, try to hide in the shadow. All right, give me a stealth, and Amick, give me a perception roll.
Oh.
Holy shit!
I disappeared.
She goes full Obi-Wan Kenobi and bangs
so
Rose.
So as Cell rounds a corner, not going directly into the engine room, but finding another room further away, maybe the crew quarters on the second floor,
or a vent or something.
What she does is she throws off a clue where she kicks open a vent on like a return vent on one side of the room, and she ducks behind a bunk on the other side of the room, but you can't see her. So when you come into the room, you see a vent, and you assume that she went in there.
People come on the ship.
Yeah, with that perception, you're still hearing things. She's completely flat. You would hear the conversation that they're having, that Sakoth and God, your name. I'm gonna call you Vol because that's easier. That Sakos and Vol are having as they're coming into the cargo hold and starting to climb the ladder.
Okay. Can I? Quietly move about while I look for the stupid Jawa.
Yep. Give me a stealth, and you're in heavy armor, so give it at disadvantage, please.
I'm in medium armor.
Oh, you're in
I
medium
just
armor.
Went with a chain shirt, and I don't have disadvantage.
Then, by all means, roll a stealth check with a regular roll, a 15. So I would assume that Cell is actively watching you, but she's kind of in the corner of a room, slightly under a bunk, so it's dim light in the area. You can still see because there's kind of like privacy lights and maybe like a night light. It's low lighting in the crew quarters because it's assuming that if you're not working, you're sleeping. So it's low, dim light in there. So you're walking around very cautiously and quietly, but she's kind of watching you the whole time. Does Cell do anything, or does she hold still?
Oh no, I'm staying. I'm hiding until the big giant leaves the room. It's after me.
Okay. So, Amick is. So, are you? What are you checking for in the room? You know that there's a bashed-in vent. But you don't really see any sign of disturbance in the room. She managed to not scuffle even a blanket or a sheet. So were you just checking, you didn't do a once-over around the room, just kind of walking cautiously?
Yeah, he's going to do kind of a once-over around the room, and then when he doesn't see anything, what he's going to do is he's going to walk kind of back towards the ladder, and then he's going to go down the ladder, and then kind of stick his head back up and just watch.
Okay, so basically at the same time as, so you're gonna like stay on the ladder, but just kind of keep your head at the second level, kind of peeking out, right?
Exactly, like where I could like pull out my gun and shoot something.
Right. Okay. So Cell seat, because you would have to walk from the crew quarter down and around. So if you think the ladder's in the center, you got crew quarter on the right. You got whatever I said on the left.
Basically, I want to watch like where I like last saw the thing, and then just like kind of trick it, basically make it think I left, and then wait and watch for it.
So the way the ship is laid out is you think of it like a pie shape. So if you think of like one half, you've got 5 pieces of pie. So you got the crew quarters, you got like a staging area, you got the engine room, the ladder that leads down, and then you have another like miscellaneous space. Maybe there's nothing there, not another room. It might be another sleeping quarter, but she's hiding in the right space. You come around, so she wouldn't be able to see you hiding down the ladder. So you're chilling on the ladder as Amic, not Amic, as Vol and Skathos are right there at the base of the ladder. And Skathos sees Vol sees his compatriot standing on top of the ladder, hand on the blaster, looking directly at the crew quarters.
What the hell's going on?
Just taking security measures of the ship. Who's your friend?
I brought on a technician to help us get on the way on this new ship that I bought lawfully.
If you have rodents, I'm not so sure I can be of assistance.
We'll clear the rodent. Let me shut the door, that way it can scutter out.
That's a good idea.
So he closes the ramp.
Okay. The pistons compress, ramp comes up and seals with a you are now, and the life support systems start to pressurize the ship, so you feel a shift in air pressure, and the once fresh air that you were briefly getting is now turning back into stale air as the life support starts to chemically change the air from outside to inside.
So what are we dealing with? Do I need to scatter a rodent? Is it...
Don't worry about it. Leave it to me.
Can I assist, or do I need to just direct him to the engine room?
Just do what you're doing.
Alright, kind sir, please get my ship moving. Just spotted. Brand new. Ish.
So Amic would have to get off the ladder for Skathos to get up the ladder.
I get it paying?
No. Amic is currently standing at the top of the ladder leading to the second level.
Oh.
So he would have to move in order for Skathos to get up.
The engine was on the first level.
No, the cargo hold is on the first level. The engine's on the second level. So basically, she went from the engine room to the cargo hold, or to the passenger crew quarters. It's on the same level. So so it's like engine is here, cargo hold is below with the ramp. So she never left the second level, essentially.
Wait, so
you
what
deal with
ladder
the rat,
did I catch
we
her
go
on?
up.
What's that, Nick?
What ladder did I catch her on and follow her
She
up?
was trying to get down to the first floor where the cargo hold was, to get to like the med bay or to the
and
cargo.
then she scrambled back up.
She scrambled back
Got
up and then went back to the next room over in order to hide.
Oh, okay. Then Amic will go back up the ladder.
Okay. So you clear the way. Skathos kind of slithers his tail around as he's pulling himself up the crew ladder to go to the... He knows this model. I mean, he works on a lot of ships, so he really knows where the engine is. So he's going to go check the hyperdrive in the engine room. So give me an... you know what? I'm going to say Arcana roll, if you have it. I'm gonna use Arcana for like technology based rolls, and /force rolls, because I don't know what else to put Arcana or like tech rolls in. So it's gonna be an intelligence plus your bonus, whatever.
So 15.
All right. So you know that it's obviously missing its nav chip, and that's why it overheated because it got pulled out mid-jump. So you know exactly what's wrong. You might have a spare. Let's see. Give me, I don't know. Just give me another knowledge check just to see if you have one on your cart.
All right. Just straight intelligence?
Yeah, just do straight intelligence.
All right. Oh.
All right. So
18.
yeah, you have a spare nav chip. It might not have all. It'll have like basic planetary coordinates built into it, trade routes.
Right.
Because that's like what you keep on stock. It's like Garmin 1.0, right? It's like, okay, it's got Google from 3 years ago. It doesn't have everything, but it's got enough to work. So you come up, you realize, oh, it's simple. It's a nav chip that's out. So you go back down the ladder, and you tell Vol, oh, it's a nav chip that's out. I got a spare one on my cart. Let me grab it. You grab it. You head back upstairs and you install it. Hyperdrive goes from red to yellow back to blue because it cools down really quickly now that the circuit is complete. So you hear a nice hum across the ship instead of the clinking and the pops. It seems like everything's back in working order.
All right. So I'd like to make my way back to Walwa.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some good and some unfortunate news. The good news is I was able to install your navigational chip. No problem. However, your multi-directional adjusters still seem to be out of alignment and are going to require some manual adjustment. Now, I can provide such services for you, but I will need a small favor in return.
Favor? What favor?
Well, what part are you traveling to? What part in our wide expanse?
We are traders, in effect.
Then perfect. You might be just the ones I'm hoping to speak with. You see, unavailable to me here around the reaches of Melvin, there's a particular type of a crystal that I require for one of my devices. And if I could acquire such an object, I believe I might be able to repair your drive back to fully functioning order, just as good as when you flew it out of the lot.
You say factions. How many factions are we dealing with? DM, how many are there besides?
So I would say that there's
Rebel,
like
Imperial,
there's
Hut.
the Huts are gangsters, so I would say so the Huts have their own thing. The smugglers, so you would have the Huts.
We're just
smugglers
near their
kind
territory.
It's in their territory. So I would say you would have primary factions. You would have the Republic. You would have the Sith Empire, and then general pirates. So pirates are a neutral faction. They'll be mercenaries. They'll be pirateers, depending on which one is going to pay more. So 3 factions, really. You would associate highly with the pirate faction.
So we have pirate, rebel, republic.
No rebel, so it's Republic, Empire, and pirates. So the Sith Empire, just so everyone knows, the Sith Empire was coming from wild space and the unknown regions to invade on the core worlds in order to defeat the Republic. So there's kind of a war going around the Central Ring. So the Sith Empire is trying to come back in to take over this galaxy.
Yeah,
and the pirates are looking for coin.
So we can sell some guns, yo.
Yep.
So Republic is still the mainstay.
Yeah, they would be the primary force in the galaxy. In the inner circle, they kind of branch out. Think of it like a sun, right? Like a sunburst. So they have the core worlds, and then they kind of branch out into some of the outer rims. Whereas the Sith Empire would be the darkness around the sun, where they're starting to reach in to the core worlds. And then the pirates are like, they're just on playing both sides. They're just
pirates.
they're either
kind of in the pirate faction.
Yeah, so in pirate is a loose term. They could either be smugglers, where they're not necessarily pirating, but they're smuggling things from the Republic to the Sith Empire, or vice versa, or they're just running. They could be running peace missions where they don't care about either faction, but they're running humanitarian efforts to war-torn planets. So the pirate faction is, we can call it the neutral faction. Pirate just sounds better, because they're really in it for themselves. You know, they'll do the humanitarian thing, but they're expecting something out of it, but not necessarily tied to either the Republic or the Sith Empire.
The financial sector.
The financial sector, yes. They are looking for credits.
All on the promise of money.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Does the map have the casino city that was in Last Jedi on it? What's the name of that planet?
Oh, shit. No, it does not. This is actually a Legends map. This is from the original 1997 D20 Star Wars. So it does not have any of the official, like, new planets. I would assume that planet...
What was the name of that planet, though?
Kaito Bent? Kaito Bent.
That's right.
I would assume that Kaito Bent is... actually, let me draw on the objects layer here. Let me give you a pink dot. Let's see here. What is it? Alt for a circle. So Kaito Bent is where that pink circle is. That would be the Casino Planet.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, it's a secluded. It's in the expansion region, so it's going to be free from some of the Republic tariffs and laws, like slavery is not necessarily held in there. What's that? Yeah, so here I'll
I'm being awful. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Oh, that's huge text for this, but so there's Kaito Bent. So they're kind of like the civilized version of, like, Tatooine, right? So Tatooine is kind of like it's a outer rim planet where they have slavery and all these other things. So Kaito Bent would be the civilized version of that kind of planet. They're still scum and villainy. They just happen to wear suits and that kind of thing. Their fun is definitely like pinky up upper class fun.
Okay, could definitely be where we're on our way to. I was just thinking, I was like, where would we go to buy guns? Oh, that's not a bad place.
It is not a bad place, but it's also one of those planets that you would want to present yourself on that level in order to deal with that kind of level. So this is like, oh, I'm going to go talk to stockbrokers about stock, not I'm going to go talk to the thug down on the street about guns.
Yeah.
So
we might not be
yeah, I mean, yes, I think of Kaito Bent as
we could run the guns for the stockbroker. He needs those guys too.
Yes, but
or we could hijink.
See, Ted and I, we have criminal minds. We know how to do it.
No. And Kaito Bent is like, they are the CEOs of the company, right? So Kaito Bent is the CEO of the crime company, but they don't want to be directly tied to the smuggling and transportation of arms and weapons because they are still in Republic space. So they want to hold favor over the Senate. They don't, it's like a
We're not
typical
gonna go
politician.
to the casino. We go to the bar.
Well, yeah. There is
Yeah,
lower
bah.
class there, but I'm just
God.
letting you
We
know.
go find the guy that deals with us, and then he goes and asks his boss, and then he gives us the money, and we get the guns, and then we run the guns, and we sell them to both sides, and then we get the money.
So
Yeah, it's
now
it's gonna be
Hudda.
wicked. Oh,
This
y'all.
plan was foolproof until this engine blew.
So just so you know, now Hudda, which is on the edge of the mid rim, which is by Toydoria and north of Camino. Yeah, that one there. That is called the
why does
Smuggler's
ring
Moon.
a bell? Is that where the clones came from?
No, they Camino they did, yes. But now Hudda is known as the Smuggler's Moon. So this is where you would go, you would find liaisons to those people that live in and have fun at Kaito Bite.
Where are
So-
we going? Rishi?
You can, but now Hudda is the one where it's like there's the underworld contacts. There's the guys that know the guys that give them the funds to transport.
Oh,
now
cool.
Hudda
And
would
that's
be
right on our current route, so that works perfectly.
Yeah, so you'd be heading on a northeastern direction.
Cool. That was our destination then.
Okay.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
like once we got here, Amick will after you guys have like finished with the engine, he'll kind of come in and he'll say, "Oh, now that you got it finished, we could probably get to Nalhutta from here." Oh, hi.
As I was just telling your captain here, the engine is fixed, however, it's still going to require some manual adjustments in order to get very far. And I'm willing to provide this service in exchange for purchase of a small crystal upon arriving at your trader's destination.
Well, you gotta pay him.
What does this crystal involve? I mean, is it rare or is it?
It is not incredibly rare, no. However, the planet of Nelvin is unfortunately devoid of such a mineral, and this component would be incredibly useful for me.
Well, then we would need to complete a few of our tasks that I had set aside.
Very well. After all, patience is a virtue. This is most agreeable for all of us then.
Good. Then I have the bad news. I can't find the rat.
We still
Sel,
have
what if
infestation.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw what it was, and it's a Jawa. They come from the Tatooine planet nearby.
So it's a rat.
It's a rat.
Space rat. Sel, what are you doing? They are basically down in the cargo hold.
No, we're right by the.
Oh, sorry, you're in the engine room. They're in the room next to you at this point, and you're still hiding under the bed. What are you doing?
While they're in the engine room, I'm gonna try and sneak downstairs to go to the armory.
Okay, give me a perception first so you can hear what they're saying. Let's see if you can hear it.
Roll one.
Okay, so you know where they're going and what they want to do.
Ooh.
Now the question is, here's an option. There is it's think of the second floor like an open balcony. So you don't necessarily have to take the ladder if you want to get down, but you could try to drop down so that way you didn't have to go in front of the room.
Yeah, I'll try and just drop down, but after hearing they want to go to this big trading type planet, all I see is
it's an underworld planet.
That sounds like a place I would definitely be able to loot stuff and find stuff, so I want to try and find a good little hiding nook to kind of keep stash at. I'm sure they'll find me eventually, but for now, at least till they take off, they'll be stuck with me.
Okay. You know what?
So I want to find a good nook, but I'll probably try and get downstairs.
Amic,
Now.
are you still keeping an eye on the crew quarters? Are you kind of like standing on the balcony, kind of watching that room?
I haven't taken my eyes off of it this whole time.
Okay, so Cell is kind of standing next to the doorway, listening in, because she's getting ready to bolt. Cell, give me a stealth check in order to try to slip past Amix. All right, Amic, give me a perception check with advantage because you're directly looking at this room.
Not with advantage.
So you see a Jawa try to leap over the balcony, over the railing. Give me
I'm gonna shoot the Jawa.
You want to shoot the Jawa, or do you want to capture the Jawa?
I shoot the Jawa.
Okay, give me an attack roll.
That's gonna be hard to hit me.
19.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely gonna hit.
Okay, so you take 8 damage, and you are still currently jumping over the railing.
Oh, I got ball in my face.
Amic, give me 2d6, please.
Oh goodness.
You take an additional 11 points of damage because you crash into the hollow net projector that's in the middle of the space in between the cockpit and the cargo hold. And there's glass.
There it was, I hit it.
Awesome, I'm doing great.
And you know what? Just for halibuts, give me a Constitution save. Okay. Holy shit, you're the most durable Jawa. So you do not break or sprain anything from this magnificent leap, and you get up a little bit stunned, you roll over, and you're like, and you're running across the hallway into the armory. So if you're planning on going into the armory, give me another stealth check. He's still watching you, so actually give me a stealth with
I can see over
No, you're still
balcony,
watching.
Right?
Stealth with disadvantage when you go into the armory, if that's your location. Or, after falling, do you say, I give up, I'm going to give you the blue droid instead of the red one?
Fucking Jawa, fucking Yoda.
I'm still gonna try and hide.
Okay, so, so you got an 18. So, she still successfully hides within the room. Amic does not know exactly where she's at, but he knows that there's a bastard of a Jawa somewhere in their armory. What do you do, Amic?
Volwa, armory. He's gonna launch himself over the railing and jump down.
Okay, give me an acrobatics.
6. He doesn't do it gracefully. It's much more of an athletics thing.
Yeah. You don't stick the landing. 1 second here.
I take my damage. I take it with pride.
Yeah. You take 5 points of falling damage. In true Mandalorian fashion, even jarring his right leg when he lands, hyperextending it slightly, he takes it, grunts, does a roll, and he gets up and starts running towards the armory. Give me an investigation check, please.
11.
So you're looking around the armory. There's boxes. There's a workbench. There's cabinets. There's vents everywhere. Nothing has been kicked open like in the crew quarters. But you don't know. There's like stacks of boxes, right? So there's cargo boxes everywhere for parts. There's storage closets. There's cabinets underneath the workbench where you would keep like soldering irons and those kind of things. Fuel cells, energy cells. And you're kind of giving the room a once-over, and you don't know specifically, but you still know that she's in the room, and you have the door. She's not going to get past you.
Yeah, I wait for the other two to show up.
Okay.
And I just stand in the door and block it.
Does Scathos and Vol follow?
If your friends are going to continue to just open fire all throughout the ship, you may continue to have more problems with your height.
Yes. But you just help us contain this issue. I put on auto drive, and come on, let's solve this rat problem.
Wait, we took off? When did we take off?
So is
I would assume so.
So is Vol going to the cockpit? Because again, you still have an unregistered stolen ship.
Gotten up, and all this chaos would have broken out. So no, we wouldn't have taken off. So I would say,
do you plan on going now? While the rat is afoot. Your bodyguard says that he's got it.
alright, he says so. So, now screw it. I don't want to get caught on the ground. I want to be aerial. I'm a pilot.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
So I
So
scream up to the sky.
okay, give me a give me a sleight of hand check for activating a general scan of the ship because you're looking for a rat. And while doing so, you're going to be activating the auto takeoff sequence. The engines are going to have to warm up because you shut down, so you got a couple minutes of warm up, but it's going to start going, and then it'll start taking off again. So give me a sleight of hand.
So I got 18 total.
Okay. All right, and let me do a little roll here on the side. Oh.
No use exterminating the rats if you can't control the mad dog that you sick upon them.
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah.
So
Chihuahua.
the scan aboard the ship, it's just a generic scan, generally used for finding problems, but it also can determine bacterias, fungi. It can determine anything that is non-normal aboard the ship. And you realize that, oh, there is a non-normal substance within the armory, specifically in the armor cabinet.
Go to the armor cabinet. We have non-human, contain, and suppress.
I open up the armor cabinet.
You see a Jawa crouched down in the bottom of the cabinet.
I shoot again.
Oh,
Or no, I'll point my gun at the Jawa again and I'll say, surrender.
I'm just gonna put my hands up, like, you win. You got me. You got me.
I grab the Jawa.
Okay. I'm gonna let you guys RP this out.
The ship wasn't supposed to leave today. It said it wasn't supposed to leave for another 2 days, so I didn't think there'd be anyone here, and then there's people here, and so what was I supposed to do?
Can I shake the Jawa and like shake it full of the things to drop it? like give everything.
Do
turn
you
it upside
care?
down, shake it?
Do you care about what the Jawa's saying?
no. Hell no.
Not really.
Okay.
I turn it upside down and shake it first.
Give me an athletics, and Cell, give me a dexterity to try to put your hands to your pockets to keep them from emptying.
A save?
No, sorry, acrobatics. Give me an acrobatics to try to, like, I'm trying to hold my goodies in.
My goodness, no.
All right.
No.
All
I got
of your
those,
shit
they were all
falls
here.
out of your pack. all the little tools, all the little bits and bobs, the little breakers from ships. You got little switches that you have stolen off of little speeders. You took the windshield wipers off of another speeder. And clink, 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 clink. You see a relatively credit card-sized chip fall out of her breast pocket.
Oh, okay. Well, that one was from this ship, but the other stuff wasn't.
And then the wrench falls out of her pack.
Oh, and that one too. That's from the ship too.
Oh, God damn it.
Amic will pick up the chip, and he'll just walk back to. He'll put the chip in his pocket, and he'll just walk back to the ladder, still holding the Jawa upside down, just by the foot, and just like climb up to the cockpit, just holding the Jawa by the foot.
You just get my stuff on the floor? I get it later.
I don't have all the info that I should have. Check her profusely.
You check her.
I don't want to touch a filthy Jawa.
I'm just gonna
you do it.
her so she doesn't squirm away.
Larger than the womp rats I've seen.
We need a chip. We need to get out of here.
Oh. Yeah, Amic will pull the chip out of his pocket. You mean like this?
I've never seen it before.
I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure this one's ours.
Boa goes back to the command pilot and zooms.
So you're gonna go back to the pilot seat?
Yes.
Okay.
What do I do with this thing?
Cell, give me a persuasion check to plead your case to why this mercenary who does not care really about anybody except for getting paid to not kill you and throw you out the hatch right now.
I mean,
I have more goodies where that came from. Yeah.
I'm sure you do. That's why you're still believing.
I mean, the thing was pretty stealthy. It took me forever to find it. Probably could be useful.
I'm very used.
Just hold pet like a child.
Well, if you are in such a hurry, then I wouldn't mind having a set of spare hands that I don't have to take the time to program the input commands for.
I'm like
It
big
could
on my
make our
hands out
movements
and being
a
held
little
upside
easier.
down. Like, I have extra hands. See there.
There, at least we know it won't be going anywhere.
Amic will hold the Jawa up like in front of his face, so you're like 6 feet off the ground. And he'll like look at you and he'll say, "Don't break anything else." And then he's gonna drop you.
Don't drop me, I could die. I don't
Yes,
break
please.
anything else. I only fix things. Here on out.
Just assist. We'll feed you. We'll give you passage to where you want to go.
Okay.
But we need to leave now.
No, you I don't know where we are. I don't want to stay here. I know where you're going.
Now,
I
you
go
know
there.
where you are. We need to leave now. Let's go.
So the hyperdrives have warmed up during your conversation, and the ship lurches as the landing gear slowly starts to retract, and the ship is taking off into space, about ready to breach the atmosphere. Does Amic go back to his navigation station?
Yeah, he just sits down. God,
All right, give me that roll I made you roll last time. I don't remember what it was.
It's my navigation tools.
Your navigation tools. Okay, so you can make as many jumps as you want. but after a certain point, you'll have to refuel. So you can make it another 8 light years. So if you want to plot out a course for the ship that you can direct the pilot to take.
No, I never saw the movie. Just everybody.
So
go.
you've got 8
What's Bothawui?
parsecs.
Bothawui?
Let's call them parsecs, not light years. You've got 8 parsecs to go.
What is Bothawui? Bothawui?
What's that?
What's
Bothawui?
Bothawui?
That's where the Bothans are from.
Oh.
Alright, so we had to recharge.
What about Rune?
Honestly, never heard of it.
Well, Bothawui we've heard of, so we could split Tatooine and Ando and head for Bothawui. That'll keep us out of the sight of a lot of people, and we won't have to go near any other planets.
Alright.
Ordnance are set. Punch it.
All right, give me a sleight of hand,
Alright.
just to get you going in the right direction. Navigating.
Scathos. That's your name, right?
Yes, sir.
Strap in. Rat. Strap
Nick,
in.
Nick, when you get a chance, can you change your name in Roll20 so I can know your character name without having to look at your character sheet?
Am I rolling?
Yes, you are. This is your flight check.
Really?
Sleight of hand
I'm gonna find the
plus your
sequence.
proficiency.
Park it.
So, what's your sleight of hand roll? Plus 8.
10.
So D20 plus 8.
Oh, 8. So 12.
12. Okay. DC's 10. So this is a known route.
Oh, okay.
It's not like it's the ones that you would know this as a pilot. The planets that you have to really worry about are the deepest core, because that is where the most gravitational shifts happen, and the outer rim, because the hyperlanes have not been established. The hyperlanes. So anything really within the inner rim, in the expansion region. The mid rim is still not too bad, but like core, like the colonies to expansion region, it's almost a guaranteed. But the mid rim and the core worlds and the deep core is where things start to get really difficult as far as navigating, because hyperlanes close. The shifts happen. The gravitation is weird, so it requires more thought process and maneuverability. So this is easy. You make it to Bothawui. No problem. But in the middle of your jump, that slight fix that Scathos made has come loose, and I need Scathos to make me an engineering check. Give me that. Give me a dexterity, Scathos. We're talking quick fixes.
Boom. Quick fixes.
Dexterity check. Sweet. All right. So a separate piece has sprung loose in the middle of hyperspace. It's causing a huge lurch, but Scathos knows. Oh, all right. I got this. And his heavy, slithering body, which has a lot of traction, gives him a lot of play when ships are lurching, because his body can really adjust to it. And so even if the ship is on like a 45-degree angle, he can stay upright and manipulate his work. And he slides the piece back into place and puts a piece of Jawa tape over it to hold it over for now.
Right.
And you make it to Bothawui just fine. Do you want to make another jump?
What plants are around this?
You're trying to get to Nalhutta, which is within 5 parsecs. There's also Camino. All the planets that are listed are known planets. So there might be a random planet that shows up that's just not... like Kaido Bite, for instance, is a relatively newly discovered luxury planet. So that's why it's not shown on the map. So you might find a random map if you jump 20 parsecs and you don't know where the hell you're going. So we're aiming for Nal Hutta. Navigation. Give me another navigation roll to try to get us to Nal Hutta, please. All right, you're within 10.
That's
+4. +8 for flight. Give me a flight check.
Oh, I'm the navigator. So who is?
Amic. Amic is our navigator. You are the pilot. All right. Can I get a sleight of hand check? +8, D20 +8 for Vol, please. That would be you, Ted.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, give me a sleight of hand.
Navigator.
No, you're pilot. D20 +8, please.
So, 18, 24.
All right, perfect. You navigate the slight magnetic shifts of black holes and collapsing stars in hyperspace. In the movies, they show it's just a straight shot, but we all know that there are asteroid fields that are known on charts, and so you magnificently avoid these with very subtle adjustments, and you come out of hyperspace right in front of Nal Hutta. But actually, not but. Can I get a let's get a systems check from Amic. Let's go ahead and we'll use your navigations for all things systems, because I assume if you're doing navigation, you're also since we have 2 mechanics on board, you're going to be short-handed, but you're going to be running, like life support on the secondary screen, scans, that kind of thing, like checking shields. Pilot is focused solely on flying, so Amic is going to have to pick up the bulk of the work. Amic, give me a navigator's tools, please. And that's a 10?
No, that's an 8.
That's 8. Okay. You don't realize it early enough that a pirate vessel is waiting at this jump point, and they don't seem friendly. They sound a common known sound to Vol. That is the sound of, "You better surrender or we'll blast you out of the sky." And that's where we'll pick up next week.
Oh, that's not right.
No pressure.
Be like, what do you know, bitch? Just boom.
They know that this is a particular ship that is home to Malastare, which is a relatively rich planet. And they're pirates.
We don't have anything. Please go home.
Here's what we do. We let them board.
So we have like a Escalade. They got like a battle cruiser.
We just let them board and then we kill them all.
There's certainly that. You don't. The only thing that you know is that there is a vessel, because your scan wasn't good enough to know what type of vessel. There's a vessel that is broadcasting the pirate code to your vessel, saying you better surrender or you will be blown from the sky.
And I'm already low on health.
Oh,
I hide
What's your
in-
total HP?
30.
Okay,
in-
you're fine.
I will say this.
You're
This
fine.
I have a
This
third
is-
of my health.
this is my little homebrew rule for this. that while you're on ship, you can go to the med bay and get full health.
Oh, awesome.
You just have to spend time on a bed getting a back to treatment.
I would totally be doing that. I'd be all over that. Like,
When Skathos doesn't need when Skathos doesn't need your assistance, you could be going and getting treatment.
If I don't shoot you again.
If she's going to attempt to lead my eyesight, I would like to look this little Jawa directly, like leaning down, eye to eye with this little figure, and just kind of the way you might flex your muscles. I'm like flexing my fangs a little bit as I lean in and speak to her. That her hands are not to touch anything in addition to what she needs. For many parts and pieces of the ship are incredibly vital, and I need you to stop picking them apart.
well, not all of them are vital. We could take some.
Effectively,
No,
I'm gonna.
I'm totally like impose this
Oh,
Effectively, I'd like to
loop
try.
like.
Hold on, one at a time. What's Ryan doing?
Effectively, I'm trying to suggest to this little Jawa that she not steal anything else off the ship so long as I'm here.
All right. Give me a persuasion. Give me a persuasion for.
Effectively, like the
Does he get
suggestion
advantage on the
spell.
persuasion from my-
Oh, the suggestion spell.
The
Okay.
spell.
What is your
That
save
is-
DC?
A 14 on that one.
All right. The Jawa feels impelled for the sake of self-preservation to listen to every word that this snake person has, this Selusi, that it might be in her best interest, and Jawas are always for self-preservation, that she might want to pay attention and listen to this particular individual. It's not in her best interest to have...
Shot.
nothing.
Yes. It's not in her best interest currently because she's been shot twice by a Mandalorian and essentially thrown off of a balcony.
I only shot her once.
Just once.
Attempted twice. But
I shot her while she was jumping and totally wrecked her day.
right. So it's in her best interest to, you know what, I better curb my Jawa, instincts just for a little bit. Maybe
All I get here is,
these people
yes,
will.
Johnny, what do you want?
Yes, Jonathan, what is it?
So Cell is gonna do what she's told. She's bleeding all over the engine room, and Skathos does not want blood on his engine that he's repairing in the hyperdrive. So he sends Cell to the med bay. She goes and spends, I don't know how long hyperspace actually takes. I'm going to say it's like a couple hours. We're going to say like short rest per jump, depending on distance. Maybe a number of hours equal to each parsec. Let's say that. So you jumped 5 parsecs. That's 5 hours. That's more than enough time for you to take a back to treatment and get yourself back up to full health. Because
I am rejuvenated. I can help now.
like extended periods of time in Bacta is for something like regrowing limbs, right? If you lose a finger, you're going to have to spend like a full day in a Bacta tank or have like a Bacta glove on or something like that. But like she got a blaster wound and like a sprained ankle. So really that's like, okay, that's like a Bacta band-aid, really. And like maybe like a back to shot or like a Colto shot or something, like an antibiotic, and so she'll be back up and running within 5 hours. So after 5 hours, the jump, you're fine. You're ready to go. You're
She's
back
lucky
up
I
with.
didn't use my big gun.
Yeah, you would have killed her outright. So Skathos is there. Sal is up assisting Skathos with putting Jawa tape everywhere on this hard drive to this hyperdrive and until it's like basically held together with band-aids and prayers while you're traveling through space.
Mostly prayers.
Mostly prayers.
Yeah, I was like totally face planning. Like, why? I was racing. It's all good. I could have done better. No, I couldn't.
Yep. Good session, guys.
That was fun.
This is interesting.
I like having a blaster.
I was not
I noticed.
I was not sure how far. I wasn't even sure if we were going to do anything today, but the rolling went so fast, and you guys like, oh, character, boom, backstory, great, position, great, and it was like, oh, we got to start rolling for something.
That came along real quick.
Yeah, no, it seems to flow really well. Ted, if you get a chance, go to the cogwheel and change your display name to your character name, or the name that I can pronounce quickly.
What?
So in Roll20, if you go to the far right where the chat window is,
Name yourself Dig Dug.
Big Doug, click on the little like cog setting wheel on the far right of the settings, and then it'll say like my settings display name. Change that to
What? It's not quick?
What?
What? But see?
I-
That's super quick.
Dude, I've been
Wawa.
drinking.
Wawa.
If you guys come up with fancy names, I've been drinking. That's why I get Cell, not Rakatokin.
Wawa, but
I miss-
It's good.
Just put your first name on there. That way I can pronounce it better.
Alright.
Well, I'll admit I created a character and totally forgot a name, so that was like the first one that came up on the name generator.
Did you go to fantasy name generators and go to Jawas and click it?
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
I did.
All right. So for my sake, can you put on your display name Cell? Just
Excel.
yeah, just Cell. Because that's what you're going to get referred to as, and that's easier for me to look at. Perfect. Thank you. Great session, guys. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that you guys pulled into character right away.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Fun.
I did not expect you guys to be gun runners right away.
Me neither.
It was like,
But it
let's
makes
do
sense.
it. Let's do it. Yeah. All right.
I can honestly say I have no idea where to go. For
Well,
Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely you do.
Oh no, I got a whole universe. I can pull
We're going
shit.
to Nalhunna, and then we're gonna go to Kanto Bay and try to get a rich benefactor.
I-
and then we're gonna
yeah,
go
I
sell
can-
guns to
I can
both
work
sides of the
something.
war.
I got some books. I can reference. Ryan, what type of
Yeah.
crystal are you looking for?
Effectively, something that will allow me to cast chromatic orb. So just a
Okay,
50
so
gold
we're
piece.
gonna call that a kyber crystal.
Okay.
All right, so on the
I was
the kyber
thinking
crystal.
kyber crystal, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to go there. Okay.
Kyber crystal would be like the premier. They're like the diamonds of the universe, right? So they're like the
Alright.
premier, the special, the well cut. If you look on the unknown regions to just like if you look at the page break just to the left, the planet Ilum. That is the primary planet that kyber crystals come from. So you have to get to the other side of the galaxy unless you find a trader that has them.
All right. They said they had a couple errands to run. We'll probably make our way over there.
Yep. Since there is a war and you guys are going to an underworld planet, there are plenty of Sith and plenty of Jedi, which means that sabers are being found and stolen and sold on the black market, which sabers have kyber crystals in them. So as long as you find a decent vendor, good enough roll, we can find you a good
You're
crystal.
gonna make the geek in me make the most impossible decision of deciding to destroy a lightsaber to cast a spell. Oh my gosh!
Well, possibly, but it's also depending on the vendor, because having a lightsaber
That's
in the
true,
middle
yeah.
of a war could be valuable, but it's also like trying to smuggle plutonium. It's not an easy thing to do, because if you're caught with one and the other faction knows that you have one, they're going to assume you're either a Jedi or a Sith, and they're going to eliminate you immediately.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Hide it really well.
Well,
So
does
would-
the kyber crystal does it seem bad or good?
The
Kinda
kyber crystal.
like green or red?
So they just recently changed what the kyber crystals are. The kyber crystals are all naturally clear, and if a Force user like a Jedi imparts their Force spirit onto a crystal, it will take either the form of a blue, a green, or a red. So, like, if a Sith user
Like,
imparts
can
their...
you change it?
Or purple.
Yes, you can. It's definitely a process to change it. For instance, a Sith user can take a Jedi's crystal and over time impart all their hatred and pain and sorrow into the crystal,
Like
turning it red.
type thing.
Yep.
It's like a mood ring.
Yeah.
It is essentially
Right.
it displays the inner spirit and presence and like emotional state of the user. So someone that has, like, we'll say Mace Windu has a purple saber, right? His emotional state is blue, which is calm, but he is also ferocious in battle, and he tends to be too aggressive. And so when he made his saber with his crystal, it became purple.
Alright. But when Anakin went from good to bad,
Yes. They actually just released
So
a
it
comic
changed.
about that.
oh really?
Yeah, the new Darth Vader comic. Darth Vader hunted down a Jedi Master who had a green crystal, killed him, and spent like 2 years channeling his hatred and anger, trying to basically break the Jedi spirit of this crystal and twist it and torment basically the spirit within the crystal and break it to his will, and that's why it turned red.
So the spirit takes on
The crystal
Passion of
takes on the
the,
spirit of the
yeah.
user. Yeah, and so technically speaking, if Darth Vader didn't break that crystal and finally break through and overpower it with the dark side, he would have been wielding like a green saber, because he killed that Jedi Master and he used that saber in his, or that crystal in his saber.
So when Anakin fought Luke Skywalker, would his saber change colors?
No, because it's like a process. It's like a process to basically to attune to it. So he would have to go through, like, if he was still alive, he'd have to go through like a cleansing ritual. I don't know how long it is, but he'd have to go through a ritual and basically wash away the pain and the sorrow and the hatred from this crystal and reinvigorate it with the light side of the Force in order to change the color.
The power of the Force compels you.
The power of the Force compels you. Exactly.
How come
So-
my spider senses are
they're-
tingling.
Oh yeah. No, there's all kind of fun things. So, any thoughts, concerns, questions for this session?
I have to research lots of StarCraft parts now. Know what I'm
Yep.
stealing.
Oh yeah, come up with good things. But did everything run smoothly? Did it work all right? Did we need to change
That was
anything?
awesome.
I haven't gotten
Totally
to.
fun.
I haven't gotten to in combat encounters or combats yet, so we'll see how that one goes. But
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
good.
Yeah, this is Intriguing.
So, Nick, we're gonna catch you. How do we want to handle next week?
Well, I was gonna say, like, so when do like daylight savings kicks in on Sunday? Is that what
Sunday.
you said?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So it would be an hour later than what we did tonight.
6 p.m. Eastern or 6 p.m. Pacific time, right? Then. Oh, who's on Eastern time?
I am.
Lucas is on Eastern.
And so I get off at 9 p.m. your time.
So we can do short Saturday morning cartoon style things, or we can come up with some way of doing non-important things until you get here, and then we can say, say like they're going and they have a random encounter with pirates, for instance, and then once you get here, we jump to where we want to go. It's just a hyperspace jump, super easy to do. So I don't know how you guys want to handle that.
I mean, I'm fine with like Saturday morning cartoon type sessions, just mini sessions kind of. That's awesome. That way everyone's involved, but I mean, it's really up to Nick on that one if he wants to.
I can try to condense it down into an hour.
No, it's more like you guys have to stay up, not so much that Nick.
Well,
I'm fine. It's you guys that are like the ones that are going to be like losing, like or an hour. You're moving an hour away from me. It's not my fault, all right? I'm not moving. Y'all are moving.
Damn it,
All right, so I'm central.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
too.
I can stay up till now. I mean, Charles is not too happy right now, but he'll get used to it 2 times a week staying up till now. Because he will not go to sleep when I'm playing D&D. He loves to watch, so.
When's he going to play his character?
Just can talk.
So I guess the question is, do we want to start earlier and have stuff to do before Nick comes? Or do we want to just keep it contained to... It would essentially be an hour on Tuesday. It'd be 9 to 10 my time. So, I don't know, what, 8 to 9 your guys' time?
I'm fine with either, because I could play longer or just an hour. So it just kind of, I mean, we could try it both ways and see which way we like it. Or, like, if there's an important battle or something we're in the middle of and have to cut off, then we can wait the hour. Or, I guess it kind of could be more of like a play-by-ear type thing.
It would definitely be a lesson in restraint.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Plus,
So
you would have to prepare.
7 Central.
Plus, if that's the case, you'd also have to prepare a considerable amount less. So it'd be a lot easier on you as the dungeon master. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and quite frankly, if it comes down to like a time issue, like so we have an hour, and if we have to stop in the middle of combat, we stop.
I mean, if anything, you guys could like start like 30 minutes ahead, and then it's like, because I like when I get off work, like I usually like, because I work from home, so like I can like stop like working like 15 minutes early and usually like listen in on the call. So like if that's the case, then I'm only like 15 minutes late, which isn't too bad.
Okay. So we can do some, maybe like one random encounter or some RP.
Or just like the recap and stuff like that.
A recap. So we'll do the same time that we did this week as
it
next
could be downtime. Like that could literally be what it is, like downtime on the ship.
If you want, like effectively, that's when we could be talking about what we did during jumps and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like travel time. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Let's do some RP. Let's do some crafting situations if you guys want to do crafting or maintenance. And maybe the occasional RP encounter without the navigator. And then once you come on, Nick, we'll have an hour of doing whatever. And then if we go half an hour, 45 minutes longer occasionally, then that's cool.
Sweet.
I like this plan.
All right.
Doable.
That is good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Should we make a separate Skype conversation so we're not calling Evie every Tuesday?
Unless she wants to join us.
Probably not.
Yeah, we can set up a second call if someone else wants to do it.
Yeah.
I can name it too.
Uh-oh.
Call it Star Wars The Void Reaver.
Or you can name it.
Or you could call it Houdini.
Houdini. Yeah, so was the sound all right? Was the background noise good? Too high, too low?
No, you still get the echoey. I don't know why you're all echoey all of a sudden.
Me?
I think what it was is your microphone eventually kind of settled with the background sounds as being like background audio. And so it's tried to fade that out as much as it could. So every time you would start to talk, it would like pop back in a little louder.
Okay.
And then like phase out at any time your voice would start to kind of normalize.
Yeah, gotta love these virtual things. All right, so I'll use that sparingly, and we'll stick mostly to the music, or mostly to voice. Cool. All right, so I guess we'll meet on Sunday,
Yeah, buddy.
and then so I'll go ahead and on Roll20, I'll just throw the next schedule on there, just in case. So that way you guys can see it during the week.
Okay, so on Sunday, we're playing at 3 o'clock my time.
Yes.
Instead of 2.
Instead of 4.
Yeah, instead of 4, because I remember that from Arizona. It's
Which is
3 and
good,
4.
actually, because that means we get done at 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What?
I thought we were going
What?
forward. I'm confused.
No.
No.
You guys are going
Yeah.
forward. I'm staying put.
Yeah, so he has to change his time, yeah. That was
I don't change shit.
He's
Y'all are
not
changing.
Yeah.
You guys are the ones changing clocks. My clocks
I hate
don't
it.
change. They stay
All
the
right.
same.
All right, cool. So
All right, nobody asked me. They're like, okay, we're jumping forward. So